movie night. My name's Matt. I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I've decided to gather a group of friends to watch the shittiest mockumentary that I could possibly get my hands on. I'm joined by Adam and Scott. We've all sat down and watched the St. Francisville Experiment, and we're all worse people because of it. Join us, will you, for horror movie night?
Man, that's better acting than everybody combined in this movie.
Yeah, let's get it right off the bat. The character of Ryan is easily the most annoying character in history, and one of the worst.
Oh my fucking god, that guy!
No, Ryan's the girl. Ryan's the girl that won't stop screaming throughout the whole movie.
Oh no, that's not the brunette guy. Okay, I'll be honest. I only watched 35 minutes of this movie.
That's 34 minutes longer than you needed to get an idea.
Yeah, no fucking shit. I did not have any time to develop any kind of relationship with these characters because I was like, this is the most boring thing I've ever fucking seen in my entire life. This is awful. This is awful.
What's extra worse is that you watched 35 minutes of the movie, which is half the movie, and it didn't give you enough time to develop any relationships with the characters.
New rule, for every time we have to watch a shit mockumentary, we get to watch like 3 full moon movies because they're all at the same time.
Wait, we get to watch 3 full moon movies?
We earned the right to watch a Puppet Master.
Like get for me. That sounds like punishment.
Adam,
I don't want to have to
shut up. You love it. Damn it.
Look, we all know Puppet Master 3 is your favorite movie ever.
Better than full moon pictures? Fuck you.
I'm just going to watch 3 Charles Band's movies. That's all I'm going to do.
Well,
that's like 99% of the full moon releases.
Full moon, yeah, exactly.
We'll do fucking Bad Channels would be a great episode because Matt could wank about that stupid
Psychotic Symphony. Yeah, they're awesome.
What you should do is actually we should have a transcribed episode of Horror Movie Night where you just type it all out in like the 90s nu metal spellings, which wouldn't be that far off from your regular spellings because you can't spell. How did you make it out of elementary?
I don't know. So
every once in a while in that transcription, can you throw in a triangle and the word Esteban? Can you do that? Esteban!
So for the little bit that we do have to say about St. Francisville, because I've got like next to nothing note-wise. This was so goddamn boring.
Okay. Yeah, this movie's boring as shit, but I have about 40 minutes of notes. So,
I think
I got to the 40-minute mark, but I was like, screw this.
So, can I ask you a question? Like, is this movie supposed to be funny? Because I can't tell if it's supposed to be a legit horror movie or, like, mocking these types of horror movies. All I can tell is that there was no script. Like, there's no way that there was a script when they made this movie.
Okay, let me give you guys... So, it's basically... I know that this movie was picked by a listener.
Tyler.
I remember you because you actually talked to us. It's good.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Tyler suggested this, and I gave the I was like, yeah, sure. Because I haven't seen this movie since 2002.
I wish I could dig up the conversation. I believe that you literally were like, oh, St. Francisville would be great. You were so...
I am so sorry. I have never been more sorry about this in my life. I am Canadian.
Well, it's like, oh, surprise, surprise. Scott made a bad decision.
Ever. Listen, okay, so this movie I saw for the first time freshman year of college. And so you gotta put yourself back in the like 2001, 2002 era.
Yeah.
Blair Witch was gigantic. It wasn't that great, but I mean, it's light years better than this. But as far as I know, this was like one of the very first Blair Witch ripoffs, which I'm pretty sure I said in that discussion with Tyler, was like, oh yeah, that Blair Witch ripoff that I saw like 2 times in 2001 and 2002. And I think that was a different time. Like, you know, I was younger. I wasn't quite so critical of movies. In any case, I apologize for picking or for suggesting that we pick this. Go with a pick.
Well,
but this found footage was from a very simple, like it was a much simpler time. So let's just think about it like that.
The thing is, my notes for this movie very rarely discuss the movie, and it's more just me trying to keep myself sane. Like, like the one note just says, "I'm dumbfounded by this movie. I have literally nothing to say." Then it says, "A mummified doll and a fart scene. What the fuck is this?" And then,
yes!
And then it says, "A girl has bitten into a bug. This is my breaking point. There's still 20 minutes left. I must be strong."
Really? Wait, was the bug eating part like 20 minutes before the end? Because it felt like it was an hour
Yeah,
left.
there was 20 minutes left of that movie, and when she bit into the bug and would not stop screaming about the fact that she bit into a bug, I was like, I cannot deal with this.
That's Ryan, Adam. That character's Ryan, and she sucks. She sucks so hard.
We really hyped up that fart scene too, and it did not live up to the hype. That was disappointing.
No, it's not like an audible fart. It's oh my god, I smelled something terrible. Oh, what is that? Guys, I farted.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's so bad.
Well, don't do that. Ooh.
Don't do that. Yeah. So Ryan's highlight has to be when she's like, "I just feel really vulnerable with my midriff bared." Why the fuck is your shirt still tied? Just put it down.
So the best line in this movie, it's the only point that I laughed at during the entire movie.
Love all the ghosts.
No, it's the very beginning. So, like, the plot of this movie is batshit crazy. A documentary filmmaker decides to take 4 random people, teach them how to ghost hunt, and he's just going to set them loose into St. Francisville, which is supposedly a haunted house, right? So each one of them has, like, their different reason for, like, why they'd be the perfect person for this experiment. So, like, the one person's like, "Oh, I studied film, and, like, I like to do this." The other person's like, "Oh, I'm a psychic." And, like, each one of them gets, like, a solid minute to talk. And then it cuts to some chick, and she just goes, "I studied history," and then it just cuts from her. And, like, that's it. Like, she gets that line in as her entire credentials for being a part of this experiment.
Is that why you thought this movie was, like, a comedy? Because of how the editing?
Yeah, because of that, and because of, like, the fart jump scare and stuff. I'm like, is this supposed to be, like, making fun of the Blair Witch, or is it trying to be sincere? Because I really can't tell.
No, I do not, like, from what I saw, I do not think that this is a sincere movie. I think this is a movie that was sat down and thought out by people who have no fucking sense of humor whatsoever and do not understand what makes a funny movie. Like, they don't understand comedy, but they still went through with it and, like, actually committed it to film, regrettably, for the rest of us.
Yeah, it's a rough experience. It's not a good movie. I'm just gonna let kind of Scott take the reins here because I have literally no notes. I will just sit here patiently until we discuss what we watched this week, unless I have anything to jump onto with Scott. So go, Scott.
Okay, so this is really taking me back to the early 2000s with the choker necklace and the like square angled tank tops on the ladies and the dudes with just the stupidest haircuts. But I love the part where they say, like, "Put down flowers so you can see where ghosts walk." That's dumb. That's just so dumb. So immediately I'm like, this movie is just not going to hold up. But it gets a lot worse when the quote unquote psychic is like, "I think I need to tell everybody something," and I have a note that's like, "What? You realize this isn't an episode of ER and you're not Juliana Margulies?" Like, that chick was trying so hard to look like her.
I don't think I've ever watched an episode of ER. I'm trying. I feel like
I haven't either.
I used to have to watch it when I was little. Like, my mom would watch it, and I was in the room as well. So I guess I like tangentially. Yeah. Oh, it's such a mom. Same with what was that one that had Katherine Heigl in it and shit?
Grey's Anatomy.
So Adam, you hated House of Haunted Hill 1999. So I just
whoa! Hold off for a second. Who said that I hated that movie? I love that fucking
let's go
movie.
back and re-listen to that fucking episode because
you can rewind the tape, and I'm sure that I'm critical of it, but I love that fucking movie.
Okay. But like this must be a trip to the seventh circle of hell for you to try and sit through 35 minutes of this. So yeah, everybody sucks. They're just totally insufferable, like almost all fucking found footage movies. The pacing is terrible, just like all found footage movies. It's firing on all shitty cylinders. I'm still apologizing to you guys in these notes. I'm just trying to skim. And the psychic. Like I have like every other note is like, I'm so sorry. I am so absolutely sorry. What can I do?
It's not your fault. It's fucking Tyler's fault. What the fuck, Tyler?
No.
Tyler,
Tyler sent us like 8 movie options, and Scott was like, "Bros, seriously, St. Francisville's the tits. That's the one we're gonna talk about."
I should have known. I bought a DVD of this.
I did too.
Yeah, you both own it. You idiots.
I think I'm just gonna burn my copy because I just can't handle it. And there's like the we need to talk about this house. She just keeps on saying we need to talk about this house. I'm like, okay, just talk about the house, get it over with. And the psychic she becomes like my greatest enemy in these later notes. The first shitty jump scares are like 17 minutes. I think it's the cat jumping out of a closet or something, and then oh yeah, and I wrote a note about how the psychic keeps on talking about white light in this movie, the flickering white light, the flame of love or whatever, and it's like this movie's Carol Ann. It's just that they had nothing else to say, so they just said white light. Another the cat jump scare comes next, and then the music box they find next, and Scary Doll. So basically, we're watching The Conjuring.
Yeah.
Which was a way better take on this same stupid concept. I guess that I'm gonna be completely blunt with you guys and admit that the thing that stuck in my brain about this movie and was absolutely the only reason I thought this was a good idea to watch is the chair moving scene, because this movie lulls you into near catatonia, and then a chair goes flying and everybody goes screaming and you're like, ah, just because it gets your blood pumping because nothing else has happened for like 15 minutes. And yeah, that stuck in my brain, and I remembered that and very little else. And then I remembered at the end when they get dragged away, and I thought that was cool when I was 18. So, remember that kid that came on to the podcast a couple times when we were doing Horror Club, who was like really young, and he was just amped about everything horror, and he was like, dude, Scream is like the best movie ever. And we're like, we know. I feel like now I understand his enthusiasm again, because and like our skepticism of it, because like,
that kid would probably love. He would love St. Francisville Experiment. We should find him and suggest it to him.
He'd love every horror movie because he has that. No offense, he has that childlike wonder. He hasn't been ripped to shreds by life and turned into a bitter piece of, I don't know, crap that like, I don't know. Adam, why don't you tell us about that?
He hasn't had to watch The Revenant and Jugface and Tusk. Cannon, I'm fucking looking at you, buddy. What the fuck?
Hey, Cannon, we miss you. You should probably pick something else.
Yeah, I just want to bring this up because I pulled up the email. These are the other movies that we said no to in favor of St. Francisville from Tyler's list.
Great.
Evil Ed, The Granny.
Can we still pick that?
Sure. Video Violence. And
Wait, you said The Granny, though. The Granny, make a little... Put a pin in that one for me for later.
So yes to
Dude,
The Granny?
The Granny is fucking great. Have you seen it?
No.
Adam?
Nope.
Oh my God, we're watching it.
I'll write down both of those as future picks. So do you have any more notes, or is it just a series of apologies strung out across the entire sheet of paper?
Yeah, I stopped taking notes and I stopped apologizing by this point.
Okay, so that was St. Francisville, I guess.
I think there might be 5 minutes of actual discussion.
That's fine. That's kind of what I expected. Evil Ed looks pretty baller, too, by the way. I looked up that VHS cover and I remember it. So, what did you guys watch this week?
So if I told you guys a story, would that... Because I don't have like a what did I watch this week. I really haven't watched anything. So do you guys want to hear a story?
Is it about a lovely lady?
No, it's about almost killing a homeless guy.
Are we going to regret this story going out to the public?
No, tell it.
All right, so this is Tent Guy in Katana, Troy. So I lived up in northern Ontario for a while, and I moved into a house with a guy. Now, we, like, rented the back of the house, and in the backyard there was, like, a shack, like a literal shack, that was rented out by another guy. Now, I don't know how much this fucking guy paid for that shack, but I hope it wasn't more than $200 a month, because it was a shithole. Like, it was a real shithole. Anyway, so I'm living there for a couple of weeks. Everything's going fine. And one day I come home and there's a tent. There's a tent in my backyard. Yeah, there's just a tent set up in my backyard right next to the shed, or right next to the shack, right? And it turns out that shack guy, his son had got kicked out of wherever the fuck he was and had decided to live in our backyard in a tent. In a fucking tent, guys.
So shanty, he created a shanty town in your backyard.
Oh my god, it gets so much worse. Yeah, you're exactly right. It gets crazy. All right, so like after a couple of days, like we went out there and we're like, guy, you know that you can't just keep living in our backyard, right? Like, this is not cool to do. We're not okay with it. And he's like, oh, no, guys, I'm looking for work. I will eventually move. Don't you worry about it. 6 fucking months later. 6 months later. How do you
live in a tent outside for 6 months in Canada?
He had taken an extension cord and run it from the shack to his tent. So he had a TV, he had an Xbox. he had in a tent, and he had expanded his little like tent shanty town. Like, he had gone to Canadian Tire. And he had bought a bigger tent so that he could have a larger space to live in. Oh, this fucking guy. And we lived, oh man, whatever. Anyway, so one day I came home from work, and Troy was a weird guy. Like, Troy was cool, but he was a weird guy. He had a katana that he had taken to a shop, and he had it illegally sharpened. So they had like run it over. They had like run it over a wheel and shit, right? So it was like super sharp. It was like an actual katana, and he had it to this guy's fucking throat, and he was about to decapitate this guy when I got home. And I had to, like, talk him down from doing it. I was like, Troy, you got kids. You don't want to have to kill this guy. Like, please don't. Like, holy shit.
So tell me something. I thought Canadians were nice.
Well, most of us are, but this guy, like, tent guy was like a real...
yourself in that group of people. Like...
listen, I'm not nice. I'll tell you that.
I know. I've heard my jokes apart before.
I'm an asshole. That's 100% fact. But I am not tent guy level asshole. Because tent guy... Okay, during this 6 months, tent guy somehow rolled into getting into a relationship as well. And he was like 25, and he started dating like a 17-year-old. And I guess once her parents found out that she was dating this guy, they kicked her out of the house. So she moved into the fucking tents with him. So she was living in her backyard as well. But tent guy would get hammered, right? Like, he'd start getting hammered at 10 a.m. Right. And he'd beat the shit out of her. So he'd start like wailing on her. And yeah, all of our neighbors had called the cops on this guy multiple times, right? Because he's doing a lot of really fucked up shit back there. But every time the cop... And living in a goddamn tent. But every time the cops showed up, she would recant her story, and they would just leave. So it never amounted to anything. All right, so let's fast forward. We've been putting up with this guy for months. Let's fast forward. So one night... I'm in my room, and out the window I hear all this screaming, like I hear screaming and shouting, and it turns out that tent guy had somebody over to his tent, and a friend of his, and he had eventually gotten in an argument with this guy, and he's standing in our front porch, like our front lawn, and he's screaming about how if this guy comes back on the property, he's going to stab him to death. He's like, come back. Like, come step on the line. I swear to God, fucking do it. I'll stab you to death. Like, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, so obviously... so obviously you can't just stand on the front lawn and do that. That somebody calls the cops, right? So the cops show up, and I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of the cops showing up and not doing anything about it. So fuck it. I went outside, and I was like, 100%. I witnessed this. I saw him threaten to kill somebody. Like, take him away. Fucking do it. You know what the cops do? Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. They get back in their car and they leave. But he's seen me talking to the cops. So he's mad.
You're going to die next.
Exactly. He's pissed off at me. So he bum rushes the door. Like, he goes right for the door. And I slammed it right in his face. And I ended up hitting him in the face with the door. So now he's extra pissed. Like, he's super angry. So, like, I slammed the door in his face. He's like, yo, just talk to me. Why don't you open the door, you little bitch? Why don't you fucking, like, you little pussy? Why don't you just fucking talk to me? And I'm like, I have nothing to fucking say to you. Stay the fuck away from me. And I I closed the window, too. So he comes around to the other side of the house where there's an open window. And he starts going, my dad's lived in this backyard for fucking years. Which also, what a brag, eh? Like, what a brag. He goes, my dad's lived in this backyard for years. I know how to get into that house. Why don't you just fucking wait until you go to sleep, bitch? Why don't you just wait until you fucking go to sleep? I'll get in there. I'll fucking get in there. And I'm like, and I have a girlfriend upstairs. Like, she's dyeing her hair. Like she's scared as shit. Like, she doesn't, like, so I'm like, no, this is not cool. So I call the cops again. This, as many times, like, twice in 15 minutes, the fucking cops come back, right? And this time, I'm like, listen, this guy's threatening to break into my fucking house and kill me in my sleep. Like, you guys gotta get him out of here. And he stands, like, this guy's seen Scarface one too many fucking times, I swear to you. He stands in the middle of the driveway, arms down by his side, and he shouts up to the sky. He goes, I'll fucking kill you! in full view of police officers, he does this. And then the cops go to, like, take him, and he ducks into his tent. Like, he sprints off to his tent. And so it's like a standoff. It's like a standoff, right? Like, the cops are outside of his tent just waiting. They're like, listen, you have to come out of that tent. Like, we're taking you to the station. He's like, no, I'm not coming out. I'm not coming out. They're like, listen, you gotta, and he's like, no, I'm not coming out. So one of the police officers unzips the tent a little bit, and he sticks a can of pepper spray in the bottom of the tent. Just fucking pumps pepper spray into this whole fucking tent. Just fills the fucking thing with pepper spray. And so he comes out and he's like, ah! Just freaking out. So they put the handcuffs on him, and they like wash his eyes out, and they take him to the police station. Anyways, it's 3:30 in the morning. I have to go to the police station too. They give me a ride over there. I have to give a statement, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, tent guy does not come back the next day. His girlfriend is sleeping in the shitty pepper spray filled fucking tent. I don't know how
Oh my God.
I don't know how she did that for the night. That couldn't have been comfortable. But anyways, the next day she gets up and she's like, I'm going back to my parents. What am I doing? I'm only 18. I'm a retard. What the fuck have I been doing with my life? Blah, blah, blah. She fucks off. This is another little fun part of the story. When we originally moved into the house, they wanted us to pay heat and hydro, right? Like, they wanted us to pay for utilities. So I put it under my name. I sent in a letter to Utilities. Utilities sent us a letter back saying, like, oh, you haven't properly filled this out. Which unit are you? Like, which part of the house are you? Blah, blah, blah. And me and Troy just never fucking bothered to fill it out again. Like, we just didn't do it. So in the shack in the backyard, it had heat and hydro, but at some point it got cut off, and he had to start using a generator to power his shit. And I think what happened was that we fucked up, and that they thought that the shack in the backyard is where we live. We didn't pay our bills, and so they shut off Shack Guy's power. So anyways, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, long story short, Tent Guy gets arrested. Shack Guy actually eventually moves out of the shack, and they literally just bulldoze the shack because nobody should be living there. It's just unlivable. Like, that's not okay living conditions. Not good. But 3 or 4 days later, Troy comes home and he goes, "Hey, man, you're gonna want to be careful on your walk to work." And I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, you remember Tent Guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, Tent Guy's out of jail. And you know the like motel that's like 2 houses down from us?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, Tent Guy and his dad are living at that motel now." So they like, I got this guy arrested. He spent like 4 days in jail, and then he moved in 2 doors down from me. So I was like, "Oh fuck, oh Jesus." But you know, I never had, like, I didn't have an altercation with him again after that. I ended up moving back to Peterborough. So yeah, that's that's Tent Guy and Katana Troy. That's my story.
All right, so Scott, did you watch anything this week?
Wow, Adam's a tough act to follow. So I watched something fun. I watched, after much discussion, Sorority House Massacre 1 and 2.
Oh.
And, wow.
That good, huh?
Yes, I
blew your expectations out the water, did it?
Yes, I watched the entire, both of them with my pants off. But yeah, so they, as I had discussed when I mentioned watching Sorority House Massacre 3 on YouTube, because I watched 1 and 2 on YouTube as well, because that makes sense. They somehow decided to retcon the Slumber Party Massacre characters into the Sorority House Massacre characters. Like the surviving girl and her sister from the first Slumber Party Massacre get not only Slumber Party Massacre 2, but Sorority House Massacre 1 and 2 and 3 to be part of the mythos, I suppose. So yeah, 1 is pretty bad, just silly 80s slasher garbage. But 2 is where things really go off the rails because they decide to make the killer be a ghost, which is really odd. And they did follow that thinking into Sorority House Massacre 3. It makes no sense. The red herring guy that you think is the killer, but if you've seen like 3 slasher flicks in your life, you know that he's not the killer, and he's just trying to watch out for them. He dies like 6 times. He gets the shit beat out of him. I mean, the survivor girl in Sorority House Massacre 2 is just a total badass, and it's awesome. But yeah, she like stabs him and chokes him with the chain, and then she drowns him, and then he gets shot. I think that he might get stabbed another time too. I can't remember, but yeah, he takes a major beating and keeps on going, and he makes it out even after the end where he gets just turned into Swiss cheese. He gets to come back for Sorority House Massacre 3. So real weird series. I would not suggest it to anyone. If you want to enjoy the series, just watch Slumber Party Massacre 2, because you know how much I appreciate that film. And speaking of Slumber Party Massacre, I said Matt and I talked for a few minutes this week and during the middle of the week, and I mentioned this already, so this is old hat to him, but I could not remember for the life of me what happens in Slumber Party Massacre 3. And so I rewatched it. Well, I rewatched it in pieces. Like, I watched a piece and then I would fast forward to the next gory spot. But it took me about 10 minutes in the beginning to remember that I had watched it and exactly what happened. So that shows you how memorable that flick is.
All right, so I watched the movie The Last Shift because Scott had recommended it. He recommended it a long time ago. And,
it's on Netflix.
It's good. There's not too much to discuss because it's actually a good movie, but it's definitely worth a view. It's only like, I think, 80 minutes, 85 minutes at the most.
Sounds about right.
And it's got some decent scares. I don't think it's worth like more than one view, but it's definitely worth watching at least once in your life. And then the other thing that I watched was from the people that I shuck all the time, Scream Factory. A while ago, I never got around to watching it when it actually was released, but a while ago they sent me a review copy of The Curse and The Curse 2 Bite. And The Curse is fucking boring as shit. It stars Will Wheaton, and it's about a town where a meteor crashes and it turns everyone into cannibals, and it's weird. The Curse.
Listen, Will Wheaton is all right. Like, as a person, I don't dislike Will Wheaton, I guess. I mean, like, he's a bit of a cuck, so, like, he does weird online social justice shit, which weirds me out. But
did you
as
really
a person,
just use the term cuck in regular discussion?
Yeah, we're going to cut that. Well, listen, honestly, though, think of a better word to describe that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Will Wheaton. All I know is that he was on Star Trek.
He was in Stand By Me.
He was?
Yeah, he's the main character of Stand By Me.
Oh my god! Oh my god! This is this is like a Johnny Depp fucking in Tusk realization. Holy shit! Holy shit!
I still don't. Listen, I'm still not convinced that was Johnny Depp. I'm still convinced that is
Michael Showalter.
Yes.
Oh my god, Matt, you're blowing my fucking mind right now. Holy shit! Holy shit! All right, but anyways, the point that I was trying to get to is, like, I don't dislike him as a person, but if he's attached, like, nowadays, if he's attached to a movie, it's almost guaranteed going to be fucking garbage. Like, that guy just not get any good roles.
Well, this was from '88. This is child Will Wheaton, but that movie doesn't matter. The Curse 2, The Bite, will be on an episode of our movie night. So this movie.
Oh, is that a stay tuned?
Oh, that is a big stay tuned. So it's one of those sequels where, like, it's sequel by name only and has nothing to do with the first movie. And this movie's about a rattlesnake that accidentally gets exposed to toxic waste, and it bites a guy. And the rest of the movie is the guy slowly turning into a giant snake. And that is the entire plot line of the movie, is him on the road as, like, his hand starts to get scaly and he has a desire to bite people. It's fucking ludicrous, but the special effects are from Screaming Mad George, the guy who did, like, the cockroach death from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4.
Nice.
Oh my god, we're watching the shit out of this. Yes.
So that's on my list of stay tuned.
Did you miss the part where he said that it's fucking unwatchable?
No, that's the first one's unwatchable. The second one is just bad. So we're gonna skip the first one. The first one is garbage.
I mean, bad we can do. We've done bad before. That's okay.
We did bad this week.
Yeah, but next week we're talking about something real good.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody, that was the St. Francisville Experiment from Who the Fuck Cares? What, 2001, 2002? I'm not really sure.
No, from Tyler Sharp. Thank you, Tyler. We do appreciate the suggestion. You horrible piece of shit. Why did you do this?
I'm leaving Tyler out of this because from everything else, it looks like it was a list of great picks and then Scott insisting on St. Francisville. And I have to sell I'm going to have to sell a DVD. I've never sold a movie that I've owned in my life, but I need to get this out of my house. So if you Go ahead.
One time I went over to a friend's house, and like he doesn't usually watch horror movies, but this was right around the time that Paranormal Activity came out, and we watched Paranormal Activity on DVD together, and it was like 4 a.m. and he was like, "Hey man, do you just want to take this DVD?" And I was like, "No, like you can keep it." And he's like, "No, take it, like you can have it." And I'm like, dude, are you scared of the DVD? Like, are you scared about having this movie in your house? He's like, no, that's not what it is at all. Fuck you.
There's a copy of the movie Rollerball starring LL Cool J has been passed amongst all of my friends because if anyone ever wants to buy a movie, like have a movie from someone, it's always like, yeah, no, you can have my copy of Monster Squad, but you have to take Rollerball with you as well. And it's just passed between like 5 different people's hands at this point because no one wants to own this movie, so it's always just a bargaining tool to give someone something that they want. They have to also take that garbage movie out of your house.
Yo, fuck that. I'll take that. Don't you see Mila Jovovich's tits in that movie?
I don't think she's in that movie. Is she in that?
There's somebody playing a Russian chick in that movie. What was her name? Fuck.
Who cares? Rollerball's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So
even the original Rollerball is a piece of shit. They're both bad movies.
Yeah, but the original one's at least has a sense of fun. There's 20...
Well, you got James Caan to look at in that movie. Look at that
20 minutes
hairy bod.
There's 20 minutes of the remake of Rollerball that is shot in night vision for no explainable reason. So don't forget to send us some suggestions at hmnpodcast@gmail.com. And, we've suffered through St. Francisville Experiment, and we'll probably suffer through much, much worse. So send them our way, and we'll see what happens.
Hey, guys, do us a favor. Will you head over to iTunes and rate and subscribe on iTunes as well?
Yeah, do that. Tell people about us, because we're doing all right, I think, but we could do better.
Yeah, we can use St. Francisville as our warm-up. Stretch that asshole out a little bit.
Exactly. Get ready for Pound Town.
Oh, fuck. I know what the bumper for this episode is going to
be. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.